watching news at Prime. Let's bring you this conversation now. The KwaZulu-Natal ANC task team has used its weekend meeting to beef up its 2026 local government elections campaign. Convener Jeff Radebe says the visible performance by councillors will ultimately determine how the electorate behaves at the polls. Let's talk now to Jeff Radebe, who joins us via the virtual platform. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you very much for your time. It's clear...
You, Xoli, and all your viewers of Newzroom.
Thank you, sir. It's clear that local government is front and center of your discussions. Let's kick it off then with what the ANC plans to do or how its councillors ought to behave differently this time around. And if you allow me, I want to use the Ekurhuleni Springs matter and say to you that the ANC can say one thing on programs such as these on national television, but the actions sometimes do not match what you say. The people in Springs, at least for the better part of the weekend, I don't know if they were there today, but they had not seen a councillor to go and intervene to try and talk to people who are digging holes, saying that they are aware that there's gold in that particular area. So where is this visibility that the ANC talks about?
Well, the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal, as you know, we come from a very disastrous election result of 2024 when we got 17%. So this has been a wake-up call. This weekend when we had our provincial hotel, the spirit was very high amongst all the attendants, all the regions, 11 of them, together with our alliance partners, were part and parcel of the strategic session to ensure that each and every one of us, particularly those who are deployed in government as councillors, they put their shoulder to the wheel to be amongst the people. So those marching orders were very clearly articulated in the deliberations as well as the resolutions. So we believe that the spirit that was demonstrated by this meeting augurs well for us moving to ensure that we improve the quality of lives of our people. So those councillors, all the regions were there, including our ANC mayors and those councillors in all those 11. So we are satisfied that we are moving in the right direction.
Mr. Radebe, water is clearly going to be an election matter going into these local government elections. It's going to be an elections issue. KZN is no stranger to water shortages. I think at one point people were even tempted to withhold their rates and taxes because they were not satisfied with the delivery of services. I'm merely using water as one example of many flashing points. What is the ANC's line of march? What is being done at these councils to ensure that service delivery is not just, it's not politicized? People do not eat words. They want services on the ground.
Yes, indeed. That was one of the critical issues that was discussed. And fortunately, we were honored by the presence of our Deputy Minister of Water, David Mahlobo, who in a very simple manner indicated the actual steps that we need to take in order to improve water services in KwaZulu-Natal. We have also taken a firm decision that as the leadership of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal, we're going to be meeting in the next few days with all those who are responsible for water services in KwaZulu-Natal so that we jack up the issue, especially of the maintenance of infrastructure to ensure that water flows. You and I, Xoli, knows that of all the things that are critical to human life, if there's no water, it is very devastating. I know it from my own personal upbringing in KwaMashu, and also from time to time when the challenges of water, we are sufferers as communities. So we're happy to hear that in the metro, as we have heard the president from time to time indicating the major strides that eThekwini Metro, under the leadership of the ANC and its mayor, Xoli Club, were making strides to improve the services of our people. So water is one of our foremost priorities going into this 2026 local government elections.
Not to belabor the point, water is not only life, but it is a matter of dignity. When the Premier of Gauteng, who also is a very senior member of your party, is going to say, when there is no water, I go to a hotel to take a bath. How do you think that lands to the ears of the people of South Africa?
I think it was unfortunate utterances from our comrade and colleague, Comrade Banyaza. But I think he did try to indicate that what he meant was the gravity of the situation. We ensure that even the outcry arising from his utterances reflect in no uncertain terms that as an ANC and its government, we need to leave no stone unturned to improve this. I was happy to see the president in his State of the Nation address focusing on this issue of water to the extent that as the head of state and government, he has decided to chair a special committee that will be dealing with this issue of water as an extreme emergency. So that's a reflection of the seriousness with which the ANC is looking at this issue of water.
All right. Final question to you, sir. And it's to do with the unemployment crisis in the country. I did say there are many flashpoints. And one of these is young people that are being swallowed up in drugs, criminal activity. In fact, I remember at one point I had the conversation with the man who started the commissions that we are seeing right now, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. I spoke to him in Durban, and he said many of the young people that die at the hands of the police because of criminal activity that they are involved in, they're so young that it's difficult at times to come to terms with how this is probably affecting the parents. What is being done, or what are the plans to try and get young people into jobs?
Well, it's one of the crises that we are facing in South Africa. The joblessness that we see, especially amongst our young people, is something that needs not only government, but all organs of civil society, business, and labor to ensure that we leave no stone unturned to find measures of the creation of jobs in South Africa. Education is the foremost priority. That's why we are pleased in KwaZulu-Natal that at last we are turning the corner on the issue of education as exemplified by the sterling results that KwaZulu-Natal attained in 2025 matric results. We believe that it's one of the measures that can ensure that our young people not only get education to get jobs, but they can become job creators. It is a long journey forward on this effort, but as we have heard in the State of the Nation address, we're turning a corner because our economy is beginning to show some green shoots, even on this matter, as we can see that in all the major economic indicators were on the positive side, but it requires each and every one of us. The point that we are making about the issue of drugs and crime, we emphasize this point that it starts with us as members of the ANC, as those in government, to be totally intolerant and relentless against crime and corruption, regardless of who is involved, whether it's a comrade or not. We need to say no and deal effectively against crime. That's why we support our provincial commissioner, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, in his intolerance towards crime.
Jeff Radebe, I want to, I'm answered in a way, Mr. Radebe, because you're not only putting up education as saying that's the future for young people. If they want a better future, then that is the avenue. But when you said they must use education not only to seek employment, but also to be employment creators, then it appears that we're going somewhere, because the encouragement now has to be young people turning into employers as opposed to being employed. But that also has to talk to government legislation, making it easy for them to create jobs. Is that something that you are viewing with more urgency?
Yes, indeed. It's very urgent. We are fortunate here in KwaZulu-Natal that our deputy coordinator in the province, Nomusa and Dube, is also a deputy minister of higher education. So which means that we are also focused on this issue of skills training. And Butima Namel, a very excellent minister, is also focusing on this issue of skills training. Even the reforms he's trying to bring in the sector is indicative of the ANC's seriousness on this issue of skills training, especially for our young people.
Jeff Radebe, thank you very much for your time.